New. I'm John St. Baptiste, and we're going to be talking a bit of gaming today. Amy could not make it, and we're going to go ahead and wait for her till next week when she can go ahead and we'll recap the show. But I do want to talk about answering some questions that anybody might have had, and also just discussing gaming in general, what's going on with the channel in general, some things like that. Let me welcome everybody who's here. We have anime lover Nicole. Hello, Nicole. The one spanner that rules them all, Braun Holler. Bear Island Josh. And I think I saw House Lower Bridge in here. So welcome all. I hope everybody's doing well today. So this is going to be a pretty short episode, but I do want to answer any questions anybody has about the show or even about the book, as long as it's not too spoilery. And also, just discuss some stuff that's going on with the channel. Speaking of that, I'm sorry there hasn't been a whole lot of content coming out lately. I'm in the middle of a move, as you can see my empty bookshelves. So that's a bit of a headache, but it will be coming back. I just found out that today is National One Hit Wonder Day. So even though I'm going to have to compress time like Ultimacia, if anybody got that reference, by the way, bonus points. Even though I'm going to have to do that, I am putting out a curated One Hit Wonder playlist, hopefully before the weekend. Oh, Josh, I'll get to that in just a second. Yes, because I do want to talk some season 3 stuff. But I will be putting out that playlist, so you'll have some great music to listen to, all by artists who were very successful with one song and then nobody really ever heard about again. Even though they're in the deep grooves is some amazing music on some of those albums. So I'm looking forward to sharing a bit about that. Maybe if everyone would like, since I'm doing this One Hit Wonder playlist here in a bit, in a couple days, the next week, would you like for me to put tracks off of those albums that, unless you own the album, you've probably never heard? Because I think that'd be kind of cool. But let me know. So moving straight into this, Bear Island Josh's question is, do we know how many seasons the book is supposed to take to complete? From what I understand, Gaiman's plan is to have 4 seasons. 4 seasons total to cover the show, which I think, given the storytelling things that they've been adding to this, that will probably be just about perfect. I think they'll be able, within, if we have 2 more 8-episode seasons, I think they'll be able to tie up any loose ends and still tell the entire narrative of the show in what is granted a granted a much more expansive story than is in the original book. So I think the plan is to have 4 seasons, from what I understand, and I'm not absolutely positive about that, but I'm pretty sure. Oh, hey, Forrest Blair has joined us. Hello, welcome. So yeah, so the 4-season plan works. Season 3 has been greenlit. Apparently, it's going to be starting in 2020. A date has not been announced yet. I have not heard anything about shooting. Now, keep in mind, I am a person, I avoid teasers, I avoid trailers, I avoid spoilers. Anything I'm interested in, I try to avoid any ahead of time stuff as much as I possibly can, just because I want to enjoy what comes out, when and how it comes out. I don't I don't like to see it ahead of time or anything like that. The perfect example, and we have. I know at least two, I think possibly three people from other countries here. So I'm not sure if in those countries it's the same way. But here in America, perfect example, like a comedy film, we get a trailer, and it's not even worth watching the movie because every fracking funny scene was in the trailer. So that's just something that I don't really care for. Um, but yeah, so from what I understand, season 3 is absolutely greenlit. I hope they greenlight season 4, because that's Gaiman's idea. And the second season had a lot of criticism, but it didn't really have much from the fandom. So I think it's going to happen. I mean, critics get to watch the show for free. Fans have to pay for it. I think right there, Stars is going to be like, oh, hey, that makes sense. Oh, Animated Lover Nicole, you get the same kind of trailers there. Yeah, it's just like it ruins it for you. It's like, what's the point of going to see it? Especially because every time it's all the funniest scenes, and then you go and you're just like, okay, yeah, I've seen this like 15 times. And I'm so adamant about trailers. Like, I'm not going to get into the arguments about if Disney Star Wars is good or bad. I stay out of that mess. But but I actually, with every Star Wars film that has come out since I've been an adult, I actually, or any film that I look forward to seeing, to expound on that, I actually get up and walk out of the theater to go use the bathroom or get popcorn or something, just so I don't see the trailer. Like, that's how adamant I am about that. So, but I am trying to keep up on American Gods season 3 information as much as I can, and still keep it spoiler free. I mean, obviously, I know how the story's going to end. I've read this book about 20 times, but allegedly, we're going to be getting it out next year. I'm thinking, since I haven't heard anything about shooting, it's probably going to come out. My guess would be June or August. If we see something by May, I'll be quite surprised. Oh, who is the Forgotten God? Okay, that's an interesting one because Neil Gaiman has said, and it is actually stated in an interview that he had, that he was actually going to let the identity of the unknown God be known. And he had so many fan requests not to, so that because they wanted to play this game of asking who the Forgotten God is. He had so many fan requests not to that he decided not to disperse that information. Now, I have my own theories. If you'd like, I can share them. If anybody else would like, please share them. And speaking of which, we do have a question from Maura Lee, who is at work now and is not able to join us, but she'll be joining us later. By the way, Maura and anybody else who's coming to check this out after the fact, thank you so much for stopping by. If you enjoy this, please like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Definitely share this out to anybody who's interested in American Gods. I'm actually putting all the Neil Gaiman content into one singular playlist, so if anybody wants to sit there and listen to it or watch it for hours on end, you'll be able to. But and I'll actually make it episode by episode with the American Gods stuff, so that you can have it in a nice big chunk. But yeah, so Maura's question is, I have a question about one of the female guests at Estor's house. She had a small gold crown on, wearing a red cloak with a flower brooch, holding it closed. Was this woman another representation of the Virgin Mary, or a representation of a much older goddess like Persephone or Demeter? She was sitting on a couch opposite the Virgin Mary, holding baby Jesus in her arms. Could she have been Mary Magdalene? I really enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to more discussions about the show as well as Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology book. Okay, if anybody else out there remembers, it's the season finale at Estor's house. There are all these Jesuses. There are also a number of Virgin Marys who are holding baby Jesus, and there are a few other deities, or a few other, what are most likely deities. And yes, this young woman has the cloak with the brooch, golden crown. Persephone, I could see. My first thought was that it might be Isis. But if anybody out there has any suggestions about who they think it might be, please drop them. Or arguments for or against either of those suggestions. I don't think it was Demeter, just because the woman was so young. But that's just a preconceived notion. Oh, Beryl and Josh, that's kind of great. I guess you're talking about Gaiman not wanting to release that information about who the Forgotten God was. Anime lover Nicole likes the idea of Persephone for the woman on the couch. I personally, since there is, and this is coming from a practicing Roman Catholic, so don't think I'm cynical about religion, but there is a lot of influence of the Isis cult, which was in Rome at the beginning of Christianity, that is influential upon early Christianity. And so that would have been my assumption. Beryl and Josh's girlfriend's daughter is named Persephone. That's pretty cool. Just tell her to stay away from fields. Tell her not to pick flowers by herself. I hope that wasn't considered a joke in bad taste. Just tell her not to go picking flowers by herself. Say, haven't Sly, you don't have any theories, Josh. See, now, okay, so I have a few favorite theories. If you guys want to talk about the Forgotten God, we can do that. Like I said, this is going to be a short episode because I want to wait until Amy can make it so that we can, actually recap the series. But okay, so there's a theory that it's Hades. Speaking of Persephone, and that would be because traditionally Hades has his gift from the Titans, having been the helmet of invisibility, or not his gift from the Titans, his gift from the Cyclops. They forged Poseidon's trident, they forged Zeus's thunderbolts, and they forged a helmet of invisibility for Hades. That's the one that I think comes up most often, and that's because also, if you're familiar in traditional Greek and Roman culture, you were not supposed to say his name. You always used a euphemism when you were talking about him. Kind of like when we talk about fairies, you call it, the lords and ladies, or the wee folk, or the people of the mountains, or people of the hills, or the old ones, or whatever, and never actually say that F word that some people are still superstitious about, and I don't disparage them because I'm a terribly superstitious person. But so that's one of the big ones that I've always heard. Another is that because they go out of their gaming goes out of his way to talk about how he likes Laphroaig, which, by the way, is my favorite Scotch. I'm not getting paid to say that, but Laphroaig, if you want to start paying me to say that, I will be happy to do so. But seriously, so uh, is that it's a Pictish or Scottish deity, and there are a number of different suggestions about that. Um, if you guys like, actually, later tonight I'll put up a link to an entire conversation that I found that was really cool about who that god might have been. My one thing to say is, if you're a first-time watcher and you've not read the book, you might want to avoid reading it because it does have a lot of spoilers about where things go through the book. But this person wrote some really cool stuff about the backgrounds behind the different deities and spirits that we see. Oh, and Barrelon just like my joke. Yeah, keep her away from picking flowers by yourself, or Voldemort, or your ex-wife. Yeah, I'm not going to get into ex-wives in public, but yeah, I don't have the greatest relationship with mine. Fortunately, my son is, at least on paper, an adult right now, so I don't really have to deal with that anymore. But yeah, so does anybody have any other thoughts about who the unnamed god might be, or who the woman at Estor's party might be? I'll give you a second to think on that. Okay. So nobody had any thoughts or anything about that, but if you do in a bit, please go ahead and share them. Does anybody have any questions that they have about the show so far? Has everybody here read this book? Or do we have any first time watchers in the chat right now? Well, Anime Lover Nicole, you're still reading it? Is this first time? I do have to tell you, there's some divergences. Where are you at in the book right now, out of curiosity? My son Tevia Major, good to see you. I was just asking if you have any theories. If you've read the book, do you have any theories about who the Forgotten God is? Or from the final episode of season 1, do you have any ideas about who the young lady with the golden crown sitting across from the Virgin Mary might have been? Oh, Beryl and Josh, you've read it 3 times. Okay, cool. Okay, sorry guys. I'm just really interested in everybody's thoughts on this whole issue. Let's see, I missed a couple comments up here. But Bruna Holler says she deliberately watches trailers for movies she won't get to see. Yeah, that makes sense. And that she'd love to hear some one-hit wonder B-sides. Ooh, I'll see what I can do. Okay, Anime Lover Nicole, you're at the carousel. Oh, that's an awesome scene. That's a really awesome scene. And yeah, it just keeps getting better from there. I would not suggest waiting until what my guess is June of next year. I'd say just go ahead and finish the book. It's such a good book. It's great, and it won't really spoil the show for you. It's just some things will be quite different. Yeah, they didn't do the carousel in the show, or did they? I feel like they did. Oh, I'm gonna have to watch this again because I get things mixed up. I've read the book so many times. I've watched the show through, but the way your mind gets amalgamated. The House on the Rock scene in season 2. I can't remember. I'm terribly sorry. But if you're at that point in the book, I do know you're about to meet a very, very interesting character who's probably one of my favorite characters in the entire book, if not my absolute favorite. I won't spoil that for you, but yeah, it's some really good stuff. So the next project next week, Amy should be able to make it here, and we'll be recapping the show in general. Okay, Beryl and Josh says that briefly there was the carousel. Okay, yeah, I thought so. I was almost positive. But we'll be recapping the show in general. And then the week after that, we're going to be starting on Norse mythology by Neil Gaiman, which I think will probably take like 2 chapters a week because I don't want to cram too much into something unless all of you would prefer that more gets done per episode. I personally like breaking things down a bit more so that 2 chapters per episode works a bit better for me, and at least my style of doing things. But if you prefer that we break it into 3 or 4 or however many chapters, please leave it in the comments down below, or say something right now if you'd like to, if you're in the chat. But I think it's well enough written that I don't want to rush it too much, especially if there are people out there who don't have background knowledge of Norse mythology quite as much. Oh, Brown Holler, you got to read it. It's great. It's really, really good. I like his interpretation, and I like the point that he makes that that's what mythology is. It's reinterpreting ancient stories, and they keep getting retold and retold, whether they're spoken orally or it's written, and that's what builds up this entire concept. Forest Blurred, it depends on the chapters. Give me one moment. Where the hell is it? I can't find my copy offhand. I think it's probably packed up. If I remember correctly, most of the chapters are about 10, 15 pages, but they give an entire myth or legend. So, that I think that's definitely something to try and break down in its entirety. For any big gaming fans out there, is there something you've read that has not been covered on this channel yet that you'd really like to talk about and discuss? Maybe after Norse mythology. I'd like to start thinking about what we're doing next now. Yeah, Brown Holler, I packed it away, but I'll be unpacked by then. I'm moving next, doing the actual move next Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So I should have everything unpacked by when we start Norse mythology. And if not, I'll just treat myself and buy a second copy. Then I can have one I don't feel guilty about highlighting. But yes, for any of you who've not had to do it, moving sucks, packing sucks, finding apartments really sucks. Oh, Morley, hey, thanks for popping in. I answered your question earlier and threw out some ideas about it. Ooh, Brown Holler was recommending Anansi Boys. Yeah, that could be good. I do like that book quite a bit. That is one, though, I think that might take quite a while. The other thoughts I was having were maybe American Gods, the book. We covered the TV adaptation of Good Omens. I was thinking of possibly Good Omens, the book version. like I've said before, Sandman is so huge. I don't even know how I would start. I'd love to do it, but I don't know how I would start. Not having a full-time job and responsibilities and all the other stuff on my channel and so forth. Excuse me, but I mean, there's so much work to draw from. And then also, you know, if you're interested in some non-gaming stuff, Amy and I have talked about maybe doing some one-offs, kind of tied in with all the myths and legends and religion and so forth concept. We've talked about possibly doing a review of Dogma, if you guys would find that interesting. "16 Legs." I've not read that yet, Brown Holler. Is that one of his children's novels? Yeah, Morley, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the movie. Maybe just, you know, give everybody homework to watch it and then discuss it, or like a one-off or something like that. So that's a thought. So, does anybody have any questions thus far about the episode? Because then that'll kind of give us something to think about with the recap next week, or not about the episode, about the series. So I'm going to assume everybody has watched the series up to the end of season 2. And if you have any questions or thoughts or things you're wondering about, oh, Brown Holler, I love dark cartoons. I'll definitely have to check that out. Definitely have to check it out. Well, yeah, as I said, more content will be coming out soon. We've seen Shadows Season 1, Episode 1, Cellmate again, since Liesmith are again in the books. No, Liesmith hasn't been shown in the show, in the series since then. I think he might be kind of important for any first-time watchers or first-time readers. But yeah, I think he might have some importance. Oh, Braun, thanks for the link. Definitely check that out. And by the way, Peter, welcome. I didn't see you there before. I guess you've been lurking, which is fine. Animal Lover Nicole. Oh, and you're so okay. I think his name's kind of tell that he's important. Yeah, quite possibly. If you can figure out that riddle, please do so. But yeah, he is a very interesting character, and that's the way Gaiman writes. He throws so many subtle little details in there, and then picks them up quite a bit later. And he originally got that, he said in an interview, from having to write The Sandman, where you have to put out 32 pages every month. And they've got to be out at a certain time. It's serial writing. And so with serial writing, a lot of writers that we're quite familiar with now, Charles Dickens is one of the first that comes to mind, had to throw up part of one chapter of a story. Did I just say throw up? I didn't mean it like that. Had to throw up one chapter of a story every month. And so they'd write it month to month. The way Gaiman describes it is you just throw a bunch of balls in the air and you grab the ones that you can. And some of them you just leave up there floating in the air, because his example is always, if you need a gun in a drawer in chapter 17, you had to put it in that drawer in chapter 3 or it doesn't make any sense. And it's the same type of example. That's what I really think is so cool about the way he writes, because in regards to your question about his cellmate, yeah, it's something that seems trivial and may be or may not be. But Nicole, I believe, said, just given by his name, she thought they were pretty important. Yes, Mackenzie, the books are, well, they aren't gone. They're just in boxes. I would show you the huge stack of boxes that is building up in my house, but my camera's kind of wonky, so I don't want to turn it and disconnect it. I don't know why it does that, but it's just an absolute not fun thing. Oh, Maura, thank you. I'm not the best, but I'm the best at. I'm as good as I can be. And yeah, I'm happy to answer your question or anybody else's questions that they have about the show or the series. By the way, we've got Mackenzie L. Burns in here. I'll be on her channel later this evening for the Derriere debate. We're discussing who had the best butts on Game of Thrones. So if you can make that, it'll be at 8:30 Eastern. Mackenzie, I think you're a Cylon. You have a spanner. Or Brown Holler, if either of you could put up that link, should be a pretty fun time. We're just going to be talking about bottoms, which I think is great. I guess maybe we'll call the final round the Ass Armageddon. What do you think of that, Mackenzie? Just a thought. But yeah, so it doesn't seem like anybody has any questions or anything like that. If you do, please drop them in the comments down below, or if you're watching this afterwards. We're doing the series thus far recap hopefully next week. If not, I'll have something else for you. Maybe we can cover a short story or something like that. We'll see where things are. Amy has a whole lot going on right now, so you know it's a hectic time for a lot of people. I know for some reason. Oh, Beryl and Josh won't be able to make the date. Well, trust me, these things are freaking hilarious. It's worth watching afterwards. It's almost like a party stream type of deal. They're just fantastic. And you can hear my best butts. And also my best butts. But we'll get into that in the stream. Other things going on with the channel, definitely on Halloween, I will be doing my reading of The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, and I plan to release it as a premiere. So I'll be able to be in the chat with anybody who's watching that. But I'll be doing a reading of the complete poem. It was a tradition that we had back in the day. I'll get to that in just a second, Peter. It was a tradition that my friends and I had back in the day, and the way we'd start our Halloween night was to consume a lot of chemicals that are probably illegal, or yeah, we'll just go with probably, and read the Rime of the Ancient Mariner out loud. So I'm going to do that, and if you want some chemicals or not, that's completely up to you. I'm not going to encourage nor discourage that. It's your choice. You're all, I think, grown-ups here. But if you enjoy that, maybe I could start doing some more reading stuff. Like I said, more musical content's going to be coming up once the whole move is finished. Also, I am I'd like to do some Tolkien content, but I'm not sure how to go about doing that. A lot of people seem to be hopping on that right now since the show's coming up. But if you'd like to hear some thoughts and ideas of mine, I think there are plenty of creators out there who do much better work than I am capable of involving his stuff. But yeah, let me know. So I will go ahead and let you all go. Please, if you enjoy this stuff, and I'm sorry this was such a short and kind of waffling video, but if you enjoy this, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Oh, Josh is asking, have I read Dirk Gently, or is it Gently? Gently, I'm guessing. Holistic Detective Agency. No, I've not. Okay, I'll have to check that out. I'll actually go ahead and write that down right now. Thank you. I always like good book suggestions. So yeah. Oh, Brown Holler, thanks for putting up the link. Does anybody have any questions, thoughts, ideas, anything they'd like to share before we pop out of here? All right. Well, I hope you all had a bit of enjoyment sitting here and discussing things in the chat. As I said, we're doing the proper recap next week. Sorry it had to be delayed, but life happens, you know, that's the way things are. I hope to see you all later this evening when I'm on Miss Burns' channel. And I'm going to go ahead and let you all go. In the meantime, please be so kind as to be excellent to one another. And party on.